Today, I'm bringing you guys along on an electrical job that I have with a channel subscriber, and we're doing it at Fiesta Island. And then stick around a little later and we're gonna go explore the Ocean Beach Farmers Market. I promise, it's gonna be a good time. Another day, another parking lot. I've been back in San Diego, living in my van for a couple weeks now. I've stayed in some great locations, and this parking lot is no exception. I enjoyed a quiet night with no disturbances and woke up with a lot full of fellow vehicle dwellers parked right next to me. The first thing I do after waking is tidy up the van, reset my bedding, and clean off the counters so I have a fresh start for the day. Today, I have an electrical job at Fiesta Island. A subscriber reached out and asked if I would help clean up some wiring on his truck camper. It's only a 3-mile drive to the island from this parking lot. I'm definitely loving the short commute times here in San Diego. I started a new routine, a cup of bone broth before my morning espresso. I found that it helps me feel more balanced, especially on early mornings like this where I'm not going to eat breakfast. And I found a great deal on these single serving bone broth packets at Grocery Outlet. I can get a whole month's supply for about $1 a day. So it's about 8 a.m. I got a belly full of bone broth and I'm heading out to Fiesta Island. And as I drive to the parking lot, I'm going to be saying goodbye to my fellow vehicle dwellers for the day. And you can see there's quite a few of us here, definitely representing the nomad community in Southern California. Considering that it's winter time, a lot of the tourists and part-time travelers have left, but I'm surprised to see how many nomads are sticking around. I guess as the winter months close in, there's really no better place to be than the sunny beaches of Southern California. I got a beautiful spot to work for the day, and I gotta say, the views from my office never get old. I have about a half hour until my client shows up, so I'm hopping in the back and making that cup of espresso, baby. Over the last few days, I've noticed a new trend here in the Bay. The mornings start out warm and sunny, then around 9 a.m. a layer of fog starts rolling in from the ocean. It starts out light, but within an hour, the whole place is covered in a blanket of fog for a couple hours. It's actually pretty cool to watch. It's 9 a.m. and my client has arrived on the island. He has a Nissan Frontier pickup with a really nice pop-up camper. He installed the electrical himself, and even though it's been working without any problems for over a year, he wants to clean it up and make a few changes. He asked me to clean up all the wiring, add a battery disconnect switch, as well as a proper fuse block, which will help tidy up all the wires. I really enjoy projects like this. For me, it's like putting together a puzzle. I started out by mounting the fuse block and battery disconnect switch. Then I worked wire by wire to connect everything in an orderly manner. Some wires were shortened and others needed to be lengthened. And I was able to hide everything behind this carpeted panel, so it ended up being really clean at the end. It was really nice to be working at the beach in the warm sun while also chatting with Rick. We talked about his truck, business, and music. It was really cool getting to know him. Every subscriber I have worked with has really been a great interaction. I really appreciate all of you guys, and it makes me so happy to see that this channel attracts some really good people. I'm definitely feeling blessed. And here it is, all cleaned up. Now, a job like this isn't difficult, but it does take time to do everything properly. I started this job at 9 and ended up finishing up this wiring at about 1 o'clock. If you look at the before and after photos, you can see a pretty big difference, and I think the after looks pretty darn good. Once the initial job was complete, Rick asked me if I would install a set of amber floodlights onto the back of his camper. I said, no problem, let's drill a few holes into your $10,000 camper shell. All joking aside, I drilled 4 holes and mounted the lights and installed wiring with a switch that was accessible from inside the camper. And the finished product turned out absolutely amazing. These lights were rated at 20 watts each, but I was really impressed with how bright they were even in the middle of the San Diego sun. I can only imagine how bright they're going to be at night in the pitch black. I wrapped up the job there on Fiesta Island at about 4 o'clock and made my way back to the parking lot where it all began. I decided to make some food, my first meal of the day. I went for some eggs and then also some strips of steak that I had cooked from the previous night. And additionally, I had a few serrano peppers left over. So I put it all together into a big scramble and boy, it was delicious. The reason I'm going back to the same parking lot is because I have plans with Sir on Dave to hit up the Ocean Beach Farmers Market, which happens every Wednesday at 4 p.m. And this parking lot is really, really close. It's only about a 5-minute bike ride from the parking lot to the farmers market. And so we figured that'd be a good spot to meet up and go check out what they had to offer. Now, I've been to quite a few farmers markets in several different states throughout my 6 years as a van lifer, and I have to say the Ocean Beach Farmers Market is one of the best, one of the most diverse. They have basically every genre of food you could want, from Cajun to Indian to barbecue, lots of vegan options. They even had a grilled cheese sandwich vendor, and then lots of fresh produce, local fruits and vegetables and spices and herbs and honeys, all kinds of lotions and potions, all the way down to handcrafted items, bags and jewelry. And they even had some vintage clothing vendors. So if you want a t-shirt from your favorite 90s musician, you could probably find it at the Ocean Beach Farmers Market. I definitely recommend you guys check it out if you're in the area. They just have a really cool selection and it's pretty dang large. So, funny story, both Dave and I discussed coming to this farmer's market last week, but you know, when you're living in a van, you have to re-up on food every few days, and we both kind of forgot and had just went to the grocery store like 2 days earlier. And so we were actually pretty well stocked on food and produce, but even still, Dave managed to score some fruit and some tomatoes, and I walked away with some delicious organic hummus. And that was it for the day. On the way back, we rolled through the Dog Beach parking lot, tons of van lifers right on the ocean, watching the waves, and it was just a really good day. I packed so much into today, and it was just a really good example of, you know, what it's like to live this lifestyle. You're always on the move, always doing something new, and I wouldn't have it any other way.